Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Don Alabi and this is Ghananie Photography. Now, I would like to first of all say a big thank you to all my subscribers. Well, we are no more subscribers, we are family now because without you guys, there won't be any channel Ghananie Photography. So thank you very much. Now, if you're watching this and you haven't subscribed yet, maybe you're new or something happened. So kindly hit the subscribe button and hit the bell so that you don't get to miss any of my uploads. Now, I do live studio sessions most of the time, so just make sure you don't miss any of them. I would want to be an educator, so I've started now with my YouTube channel. So guys, just subscribe and hit the bell. Now, in today's tutorial, we are going to, hold on, did I drop the intro? I don't think so. I don't remember. I don't think so. All right, drop the intro. Okay, welcome back, guys. Now, I'm using two different mic inputs, but I think we'll talk about that later. Yes, so let's go straight to business. Now, this shoot I did it live, and the live video is on my channel, so you can just watch it to see how I got this shoot done. This is Jeffrey Forson, Mr. Male Model Africa 2016. He's an actor in Ghana. So we had this shoot earlier on, and now I'm here to retouch. This is straight out of camera. I haven't done any raw processing. So we'll start from raw processing all the way to frequency separation, dodge and burn, and then we move to, yes, all that we have to do. So for now, all these images are to be edited, but I'm just going to use this one for this tutorial. So first thing I do here is, before that, I have a video on how I raw process my images. So I'll add the link in the description or somewhere. Is it up here or up there? Well, any of them, but I'll surely add the link in the description so you can watch it. This one is for a male model. So first of all, I come to levels. I normally go with auto just to see what it will give me first. This is not bad. Well, the image was almost well exposed. So what I'll do is I think I would want some contrast in it. It's a guy, so contrast of 10. Let me just dial it in. 10, and then saturation, I think I'm okay. With the white balance, I shot at 55K on the camera. So let me just go to 5300 and see what. Yes, I think I like 5300. Then I'll raise the saturation a bit to 5%. Let me just dial it in. 5%. Now I come back to this, press auto, and nothing seems to have changed. As you can see, the image is very sharp. Now, if you want the details I used for this shoot, it's right here. ISO 100, shutter speed 1/60th of a second, f8, and I use the 85mm. I love details, so I always shoot at a high f-stop. You can see all the details on the skin and all that, you know. This is what we have. So we go back and high dynamic range. I don't think there's anything you want to do. So apparently this image already looks good straight out of camera, but I think it's a bit dull. So let me just increase the highlights, the midtones a bit. Sorry, yes, 4%. Then I want a bit more contrast. So I add a bit of, or you know what? Let's just maintain it at 10. Then we go to curves. Then I'll use the Luma range to add the required contrast. So if you come down here, it's the shadows, and up here is the highlights. So let's do a quick before and after. You hold down the option key and then press this momentarily. So you see this is before the Luma curve, this is after. What the Luma curve does is it works on only the luminosity. It leaves the colors and all those things alone. So this is what we have now. This is it. Now the others are all shot in the same, environment. So we can just copy this and then just apply to this. See, suddenly it changes everything. Apply to this. This is what we edited. Apply it to this. Yeah, that's good. Apply. Apply. Yes, we have other pictures in this series, like this a fitness thing. He's a bodybuilder, so we did this for his campaign, but I won't be editing these today. For this purpose, we are editing just this picture. So we have what we need now. We move it to Photoshop to continue there. So just right click with the way I move from Capture One to Photoshop is I use export variants, and I have this here, so I just choose the folder where I want it to be. You have Jeffrey Forson, good. Then it creates a TIFF folder automatically for me. So all I do is, and I'm doing 8-bit. Should I move to 16-bit or leave it on 8-bit? Well, I'll just leave it on 8-bit. 16-bit will just take up more space. So I leave it on 8-bit, and we go straight into Photoshop. So here we are in Photoshop, our crisp image. So the first thing I do in Photoshop is I create an empty layer. Now I'm using a Wacom tablet. I will encourage every retoucher to get a Wacom tablet. It makes your retouching easier. It's better than, I won't say better, but it's easier. It makes your workflow easier than using a mouse. I have a Magic Mouse which does, marvelously, but I use it once in a while. But for retouching, I purposely use the Wacom tablet. This is the Intuos Pro Small. So first thing I do is I create a new empty layer. I have shortcuts on my Wacom that I use for that. Otherwise, you can just come here, new layer. So what I name it is cleaning, healing, anything you want, just so you can denote what you're doing. But because I'm going to heal the patches or the blemishes on his face, I name it healing. This is wrong spelling. Healing. Yes. Now we have the right spelling. So some people, what they do is they rather create a copy of the background layer. Now, I explained in another tutorial that when you create a copy of the background layer, if the background layer is, now we see 69.1 meg, if you create a copy, you double the size. So each time you create a copy, you increase the size by that same amount. But if you create an empty layer, it has no effect on the size until you start working on it. So that's it. Instead of duplicating the background layer, rather create an empty layer and work on it. So now we're going to use, over here we have the healing brushes. I use the spot healing brush. Some people use the healing brush, some use the patch tool. It depends on what works for you and then what exactly you want to achieve. I find the spot healing brush perfect for my purposes. So with that, when I'm healing, I zoom into 100% so I can see everything well. Now, if you're going to do it on an empty layer, then what you need to do is up here, you see sample all layers. You need to select it. And then over here, the type, you always choose content aware. Now, let's look on the skin. There is this white thing here. I use the brackets. If you guys are wondering how my setup is, I have this 29-inch Samsung monitor that I use. This is my MacBook Pro. Now, I've connected the Samsung monitor to my MacBook Pro via HDMI, and I've split the screen. So I have one screen here and then one here. And then this is my Wacom tablet. So I use the keyboard here and then the screen here for my, anytime I'm retouching, I move it here so I can see it bigger and then work on. And I monitor it here to see what it looks like on this others. I've calibrated my screen so they have almost the same display. All right, let's continue. I use shortcuts a lot. The brackets open and close to increase or decrease the size of the brush. So now what we do is we are up here, healing. That's exactly what you are doing, healing the various unwanted spots. As I said, you can use the healing brush to do this as well, or even the patch tool. Hopefully I'll do other tutorials to demonstrate the use of the other tools. So what I do is, in order not to bore you, let me just fast forward this and come back here when I'm done with the healing process. Welcome back, guys. So as you can see, we were at about 70 meg when we created the empty layer, but now look at where we are now, 103. So imagine you duplicated the background layer. That would have made this, we would have already been around 250 meg. Now that will have an effect on your storage space. So if you don't have a huge hard drive, this is the way to go. Otherwise, if you don't mind the huge storage space, cool, you can do it that way. So we are back from cleaning the image. Now we have a clean image now. What we need to work on now is, there are some areas that are a bit discolored. So we need to now even the tones there. So with that, we can use dodge and burn. We can use micro dodge and burn, or corrective dodge and burn, or we can use frequency separation, or you can even just airbrush. Now I choose to use frequency separation for this particular pep. We could use dodge and burn, but dodge and burn is time consuming. So I'll do another video purposely for dodge and burn. But in this case, I'm going to use frequency separation to even out the tones on his skin. So let's do that. Now I'm going to use the array panel. I'll have a full tutorial on the array panel, all the shortcuts on the array panel, as many of them as I can cover. So just stay tuned for that. Now let's just go to, because we brought this image in 8-bit, so we are going to use the 8-bit frequency separation. So right here. Now the radius depends on what you want to achieve. Now for female portraits or female headshots, I'll use, sometimes I choose to keep it at 6.4 pixels. But for male, I want more detail. So I'll go up to maybe 9 pixels. Let me just type it in. 9. And that's it. So it creates 3 layers. The low frequency, which has the colors, the high frequency, which has the texture, and then the empty layer, which I'll be using to correct the tones. So first of all, I'm going to use the mixer brush to even out some of the rough places. So we just come to the brush here and then mixer brush tool. Now, one photographer who drew my attention to the mixer brush tool is Prince Mason from Nigeria. I watched his tutorial on the mixer brush tool, and immediately I knew I had to use it. So Prince Mason, big ups to you. Thanks for bringing my attention to this. So when using the mixer brush tool, I always try as much as possible to not zoom in. I take the image back as though I was viewing it on a screen. Maybe if you're viewing this on your phone, this is how it's going to be like. So I'll go somewhere 25%. Then with the mixer brush tool, also I use the brackets open or close for that. Now the settings here, where it's load, mix, flow, I have no idea why they are on that level. Prince Mason says they should be there. So I think his was 30, 30, 20, 20, but I want my flow to be a bit high. So I'm doing, what I know is with the smoothing is when you're brushing, you know, how you want the flow to be. You know, if it should just follow, or if you just, you know, like if you're a real painter, you know, you go smoothly like that. Otherwise, if you just want it should just follow. With the, why am I even explaining this? Let's just scratch it. Let's continue. So with these settings, On the low frequency, I start to the areas where I know need fixing. I'll just go there. Now you try to avoid longer strokes. Now let's zoom in and then do a quick before and after. Just keep your eyes here. This is before, this is after. You see the effect is so small. That's how it's supposed to be. The effect is not even supposed to be seen. If you can see, you can vividly see the effect, then it means you're overdoing it. So just these areas where I see like discoloration or that kind of stuff, I just blend. What makes a good picture? Highlights and shadows, blacks and whites. So don't drag highlights into shadows. Don't drag blacks into whites. Otherwise, you will make the image flat. So just keep highlights in highlights, shadows in shadows, and then blend their intersection where they meet. When you blend that place with the smooth transition, that's what makes it unnoticeable. So people see your image and they're like, wow, everything is smooth. But in essence, you haven't blurred the skin. You have just blended in the tones perfectly. Well, not fully perfect, but something close to perfect. So far, this is where we are. His hands, yes, this place looks somewhat. So let's just blend in the tones here. Now, prior to using the mixer brush tool, what I learned from Retouching was to use the correcting tones and then use my brush, sample color paint, sample paint. That's how I used to correct my tones until I discovered the mixer brush tool from Prince Mason. Prince Mason, thank you once again, yeah, for that tutorial. So once in a while, I save my work, Command S. My fingers are always close to that because you don't know, the app can crash at any time. Even though it hasn't happened to me yet, it can crash at any time and you'll be in big trouble. So this is where we are so far. If you look at before and now, you see slight change. The tones have been smoothened now, and I'm sure there's a bit more we can do here just to now. This is a male figure, so perfection isn't my concern. What I want to achieve now is to get a very good and presentable picture, not a smooth skin. It's women who request for that kind of thing. For men, you need masculinity, if there's a word like that. I'm sure there is. So guys, this is what we have before and now. Before and now. You can see that we haven't done much to the image, but we have been able to achieve something. This is before, now. Before, now. We haven't flattened the image. We haven't destroyed the image. Now, if we realize we made a mistake, we can just delete this whole frequency separation folder and then create a new one. But in our case, we are okay with it now. Just a few more things to do. Looking at this place, we have something going on. It could be part of his skin, but it looks distracting. So we are going to use dodge and burn to clear that. Understood? So let's go to this place. Now you could have just used dodge burn, but I want to use the whole setup because it contains the help layer, which turns everything into black and white so that we can see everything we are doing very well. So just click on this and it creates it for you. We won't need this one. We close it. This is where we're going. So there's the dodge and there's the burn thing. So let's come this way. We take the dodge because we want, this is black, we want to remove the black, so we use dodge. Burn makes black, dodge makes bright. So we use the normal brush right here at a flow of 2%. No smoothing, because I want the effect to take effect right away. I don't want to have to brush and then wait for a few seconds for it to appear. So with that, we go here and then we brush into the blacks. So this is more of a corrective dodge and burn. This is not a global dodge and burn. I have a tutorial on how to global dodge and burn. So I'm sure it just popped up. Is it right or left? On the left, yeah, it's up here. So you can just click on it and then learn from that. This one is corrective dodge and burn. So as you can see, I'm being more careful. So if you do before, this is colored, this is before, this is now. So let's just focus here. This is 100%. Focus on this region. This is before dodge and burn. This is after. Before and after. So you can see there is a bit more to do. Let's just bring it back. It's always better to dodge and burn in black and white. That way you get to see exactly what you are doing without colors. The colors might deceive you. Now this part also needs some. Okay, so now we go and burn. You see, this place is a bit white, so we just fill it with black. That's the purpose. You will dodge the places that are too dark that you want to make bright, and then you burn the places that are too white and you want to darken to conform to the surrounding colors. And because the flow is at 2%, you know, it builds up gradually, so you don't see the effect right away. And with that, it helps you so you don't overdo it. So that's exactly what you are doing. Let's see. Before, this is color before and now. Before and now. I hope you guys are seeing the difference. Look over here. Before and now. Then if you look in here, before and now. See the difference? So there is this black line here. Let's get rid of it. I understand this is time consuming, but sometimes you need it. For something close like this, you will need this kind of procedure to get. You could have used different levels for frequency separation to get this done. But I will have another tutorial on using just frequency separation. But for this purpose, I just want to dodge and burn, because this is a guy. I want all the details intact. If it was a girl, I would have made it a bit smoother than this, but because it's a guy. Now, we use this for corrective dodge and burn. So I'm going to close it and then create another dodge and burn. This time, we are going to use it for global dodge and burn. I hope you guys understand. The one we did earlier was for corrective dodge and burn, which means we use it to correct some defects. This global dodge and burn, we are going to use it to just add some shape. You know, highlights make them more profound. Shadows make them more profound. So let's continue. Same thing. Flow of 2%. We start. So dodge means what? Make bright. So where the highlights are, we go there and then make them brighter. So everywhere we see highlights, we stroke a couple of times to add depth to the image. Now, with the other pictures I showed you, the fitness one, the one he was bare-chested, we are going to do a lot of dodging and burning to that image to bring out the six packs and all the definitions. So you realize as I do it, I keep changing the size of the brush. So on the lips also we have here. So basically everywhere you see highlights, we dodge. Now if you press the Alt and then click on the mask, you see this shows you the places we have dodged. Press on Alt Option again. I'm using a MacBook, so Option. That would be Alt on your Windows keyboard. So now we go to the burn layer, which is darken. Now I prefer doing that with the colored version. So a quick one. This is before, after of the global dodge, and before and after. So I'm now going to burn the shadow areas. So everywhere that's dark, I'm making darker. That's the whole purpose of global dodge and burn. Make shadows darker and highlights brighter. Simple. That's exactly what we are doing. So you see, it makes it 3D like. It adds definition to your image when you dodge and burn. So here we have it. Let's do before. This is before dodge. Let me come closer so you can see. This is at 50%. This is before dodge and burn. It looks flat. After global dodge and burn, see? Before global dodge and burn. After global dodge and burn. We have our image. We haven't destroyed. You see, the texture is still there, intact. But we have moved it from a certain level to a much more acceptable level. So once we are done with our 2 dodge and burns, we will move to as you can see, the eyes look dull. So we are going to work on the eyes. So there is this shortcut here, magic eyes. We could have done it manually, which I have a tutorial for. So I'll add it to the description so you can get a link there and then follow it. Magic eyes. You expand it, and now you want to use clean eye. Now with that, I use a flow of 30%. So you can see the flow has changed to 30% here. So I zoom in all the way into the eyes, then I start cleaning the whites. I clean it. So you can barely see his eyes. Then I move to add light. Brush a couple of times. Not too much to make it fake, just twice. So 30 times 2 is 60. So you can see this doesn't look fake. Let's take off the magic eyes. This is before. This is now. As you can see. Now I noticed there is something down here, this area. So I would want to go back to our corrective dodge and burn. Move back to 2%. 2% flow. And then this area, I want to dodge this black spots away. It's trying to prove stubborn. So as you can see, I've dodged it away. It's trying to prove so I'll rather use the healing brush. And then on the high frequency, just go there. Now, if you're doing anything with, I think I'll have to explain that in another video, but if you're going to work on any of these in the frequency separation layer, you turn off sample all layers. So you're working on only the high frequency layer. We don't want it to affect any other layer. So we come here and then heal that spot. And just like that, we have it healed. We save it and then move back in. So, in a nutshell, this is what we have. We have been able to work through. Now, let me go through quickly. Let me disable everything. So we start afresh. So now, with the image zoomed in at 50%, this is what we do. So the first thing we did was we did the healing, which took away most of the blemish. This image could have remained like this because it looks good, but we went a step ahead and applied frequency separation, which made it even better. And then we did corrective dodge and burn, which took away some of the botchiness and stuff. Then we did global dodge and burn, and then we worked on the eyes. So my friends, this is where we are now. This image has been perfectly worked on, and so far so good. We have our image now. If we move to Capture One, we'll have it there. Then we'll do the export and all. I already have a video on how to export your images for social media. Thank you guys for watching.